Howdy, Bart here, and welcome. Pardon the delay in getting started with the stream, but not been a good day health-wise, so here I am at almost 11 o'clock. A little late starting, but yeah, better late than never, right? Alright, so what I'm working on today is just doing some tweaks on the Sci-Fi Demo, and let's go ahead and fire it up to see what the current status of the demo looks like. Not my usual menu. I'm probably going to go ahead and change that over to my usual menu, although I do have some people who do like using LAN, but I don't, so my version does not have LAN, it's just Steam only. But let's get into it and take a look. Alright, so let's start off again using the city map from City Studios, the city pack, just because it's a good start and just I needed somewhere to test. You'll notice that the character system is a little bit different. I still got to make some tweaks to the character's hand positions, but you'll notice that there's a sword on his back. You can hit the F key and swing the sword and do a melee attack. Cool. And this isn't the usual police car that's normally sitting here. This looks a little different. Now there's a lot of prototype pieces that are in here that are not available yet for Unreal Engine 4. These are some of the assets from the Unity pack from the City Studios Sci-Fi. Since they're not available on the Unreal Engine 4 just yet, then having to make do. So still having some issues occasionally with the curb trying to get across it, and with this, that's a common issue with the cities pack. So walking around town, what's actually new? Well, the health bar, well, you know, weapons-wise, using the rifle from the asset pack for City Studios Sci-Fi. So it's working, the animations are set up. The system that I'm using for the weapons is actually from John Galt. And there's a drone flying around up there, well, just hovering up there. These are some of the new building assets. Look pretty cool. I hit the Q key, switch over to the launcher, and see it shoots a plasma grenade out. Pretty damn cool. Here's some more of the cars, by the way. Actually working on converting this one over into a hover car. It's still under construction, so. But you also have a grenade. Might want to tweak that up just a little bit. The pink kitty. Again, still needs some tweaking. The height, you can't get back and forth through there, but you can actually go in through the front side. Some more of the other buildings here. The NPCs that I've got walking around are still, well, under development. Got the pink kitty. Should be able to activate the eyebrow and make it actually wink. I can get up here and do a little dance if I want to. Yeah. So, some more rogue vehicles just laying around, kind of reminiscent of the Back to the Future car. So, street sweeper, and from John's asset for the jetpack kit, which is available through him. I have changed the weapon, or not weapon, the vehicle spawner. So now this is the actual vehicle spawner. You come into these garages, hit the number 1 key, and you can spawn a hover bike. Do have to fix the sounds on it, but the bike itself runs pretty good. I got to tweak the collision box a little bit on it, but this is also a 2-passenger hover bike. So as I'm riding around and go pick up a buddy, he can hop on the back, and while he's on the back, he can actually shoot and reload, and can hop off whenever necessary. I have gone ahead and made sure that these guys here could actually be knocked over. And just the same, the death. If you do make a mistake and like, oh no, I can't drive, and run off in the water, then blah, you're dead. Hit the P key, respawn, and there you go. Working on some new icons. We've got the ammo and energy, health, and repair. Got one other one I want to play around with too, but they work for the ammo and the health. I haven't finished setting up the energy or repair because the hover bike and hover cars don't have damage to them yet. And what else will make this really cool? Well, I mentioned jetpack, so you can actually right click and utilize jetpack functionality. And you can shoot while you're up in the air as well. You do have a limit of energy, so that you need to, if you want to fly around town, you need to really watch your energy levels. And you can just use short burst and do all kind of traveling around. Really awesome setup. And this is part of his basic kit. Retro. So, if I let it go all the way, I can actually fly all the way up there and get on top of this tower. So let's go ahead and see if we can get all the way up there. Good little sniper vantage point, but using this jetpack now, you can get anywhere in the city you want. You can get on top of those buildings, that one, all the tallest buildings without any problems whatsoever. And at a little bit at a time, I'm going to go ahead and be switching out all of the buildings. And this one's a chop shop. Got some other things I can put together, like a robot that you can actually shoot and dismember. This is another building that's got a nice little interior to it. A pretty fair number of buildings you can actually walk around in. That's actually some other stuff that I've added in here to the actual map. The soda machine, I'm not sure if I'm going to use that one or if I'm going to use my old soda machines, because they work. You know, they'll look a little bit better than that one does. But this one does have 3 buttons on it to where, you know, I can activate it and set it up the way I did before. But this is the status of the demo so far. And, okay, good enough. It'll get you going. But you can see the hand position and the weapons need to be tweaked a little bit. And a couple little tweaks on the hover bike. But I like the new place where you go to actually get it. Just looks like it's, you know, you got a console here you can hit. Hop in, spawns there, and off you go. Now another nice thing about this, the hover bike from John's asset pack that he put together, is if you decide you want to get off of it, instead of it being 10,000 of these bikes just laying around, what will happen is after a set number of moments, or like 10 seconds or so, it will actually despawn. That way, if you get off of it, it's going to go away. So I did place 2 of those hover bike spawning locations, or I guess you can say like a car lot or whatever. So you can actually go to this one right over here and do the same thing. This one's just plain. I set it up as a blueprint, and this is just a building, this little piece right here, and this console, and it all works out. All right, so cool. Everything works. Everything looks good. However, I have to give John crap about this all the time. He decides that the M key brings up a menu to quit game, and I actually like my escape menu better because you can actually open up a menu and go back to the main menu and rehost another game or change maps or whatever. So I'm going to switch that over to that mode so that you can actually hit escape, and that's where you'll find like settings information and stuff like that too. So the project itself, I'll try to get some work done without showing too much and not giving away any of the top secret cool stuff. So this is the city. I'm going to slowly just, you know, put some of these buildings in here. Not all the buildings are finished being converted yet. But so far what we have converted from Unity to Unreal Engine 4 materials still need to be streamed down a little bit. There's some that need to be refined. Excuse me. Alright, so the meshes. Try to break them up a little bit. You got some background scenery buildings, some building pieces, windows, towers, all kind of building pieces to create your own city out of. So a pretty good start so far on getting these converted. Not all of them have correct UV mapping just yet, and textures and materials done correctly for them, but it's a good start. And then the environmental pieces, you've got some trees and bushes and wall sections, sidewalks, streets, um, and little pieces parts like hedge boxes and hovering ground tiles. Some, just different graphics, different pieces you can throw in there, including some clouds. The effects aren't done yet. Props wise, got a lot of stuff. So these are the new icons, and that I'm using right now, the ammo and the health, they are functional. I have not finished the energy because, well, you got to figure out how to implement that correctly. There's an antenna post here, barrier line, barrier poles, doorways. I mean, there's all kind of little stuff inside here that you can plop into your map. Bottles. There's a red carpet, so you need a carpet to put somewhere. Some furniture, a lot of cool stuff. And part of the thing on this is, which, let me see if I can find a live one of these. It's called the Zub. The Zub is actually a sci-fi creature that's part of this system that is, according to the story of what I see of the sci-fi pack, was a creature that is actually plagues the city but is also being used as food. Because I've found, yes, there's your quadcopter drones and other flying drones, including armed drones that will be functional. I will look into creating them as actually flying sentry drones. So for the arena version of this, then they'll be able to shoot your enemies. But one feature at a time. Let's see what else we got. Yep, hanging meat. So you can set up a butcher shop or whatever else. I mean, there's a lot of cool little assets that are in here for setting up the map. Robot chunks. Don't have the characters converted yet. Really good guy is actually working on that, trying to get that situated. So signs and neon, a lot of cool stuff. And then on the vehicles need to be kind of fixed a little bit better, because some of them are actually wheeled vehicles, some are actually hover vehicles. There's two different kinds of hoverboards. One is a hover skateboard, so that's one I definitely want to look at for later on as well. Got a total Back to the Future vibe going on with a lot of these things. Armored vehicles, taxi cab, street sweeper, the sports car, the police car, the taxi. You got two different main kinds of armored vehicles, including a turret system which you can put on, which I want to try to use this turret for some base defense as well. Alright, so that's pretty much covering a lot of the main aspects, and of course there's weapons. You got the weapons add-on pieces like bipods, vertical grips, sights, scopes, silencers. There's two different types of silencers, a rectangular one and a round one. Grenades, drum magazines, lots of cool stuff here. Lots of different pistols and submachine guns. There's a revolver, rifles, launchers, sniper rifles. But since there's at least one, I think there was two different knives, what I'm probably going to do is, on the main character, which we'll start off with first, I think, is replace this sword that I'm using with the shiv, or a dagger, or a smaller knife. So what I want to do is find my player character, and I'll change that out real quick. Let's see. Again, this version that I've got done so far was already linked on Discord, but what I'm going to do is I will actually put the current version as soon as I get this version done. Let's see, let's go to the viewport. So you can see our character there. Actually, what I'll do is even though it's not on here, so I probably just need to go to the weapons folder and change it there. Melee, sword. Even though it says sword, I think I'm just going to go ahead and change it to where I'm actually using a dagger instead. So if we look at the viewport, this is what we're actually using now. So let's go ahead and find the weapon. Was there any other bladed weapons? Got this knife right here. Let's use that one. So all I got to do is just select it, and unfortunately it is a, well, fortunately or unfortunately, it's a skeletal mesh that we need, and the knife itself is actually a static mesh. So what I'm going to do is I have a mesh folder that I'm working on, and I will come over here. I will actually create a new one, knife 01, and then what I'll do is go back to my weapons, find that particular one that we want to use, and I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to export. So if you don't have a skeletal mesh for something that you need to set up as a skeletal mesh, this is an easy enough way to do it. I'm actually going to go ahead and find the folder that I've been using for this. That would be, if I could actually remember what it was. Or, you know, worst case scenario, you just put it wherever. So let's see if I can figure out where I actually was working on this one on. I really got to spend some time organizing my Unreal 4 engine hard drive. Just because. Alright, so I'm just going to put it somewhere. It doesn't really matter where I put it for now, because like I said, I've got to reorganize everything in this freaking hard drive. So yes, screw it, this will be good enough. I try to be organized on things, but whenever you're trying to rush through and get things done, occasionally I forget where I put things. It's not that I'm getting old or anything, you know. Alright, so we're actually going to put that one in. I'm sorry, I'll make this quick. And I believe I put it in this folder. You want to make sure that I'm putting it in a folder where I can actually remember where I put things and I can quickly bring it back in. Because I got so much stuff that I start working on a project and put something in here, and I'm just going to create a new folder. I can't remember where I actually was using this in. So we'll just make a new one. Now I can go back to where I was doing this, find the folder that I just created, CoG data, and Sci-Fi. Now what I want to do is go ahead and rename this. It's a little bit on the long side, so I'm just going to call this sk_knife01 and save. And it's okay, it doesn't really matter all that much of which way you export it. So there you go. Now I'm going to go back to my folder where's my Knif folder 01, and now all I've got to do is I'm just going to drag it in. I'm going to left click and drag it from File Explorer until I see this little icon by my mouse and let go, and it'll come up to this menu, and now I can select skeletal mesh, and I don't have to worry about the skeleton or anything else, and then just going to hit import. You're going to have some errors, don't worry about it. And then for some reason these are doing this as well. They're creating two different things, so I'm going to grab this one, these three, and delete them. So now I can actually hit save all. It's going to refer to the correct material because I didn't change the material that I'm actually using on it. So now all I have to do is click here and click on my mesh, hit this arrow, and I just changed it. Compile and save. So what I'm probably going to end up having to do is actually go in and change a few things. See, the position is going to work for now because he's reaching behind his back to grab the weapon, until I can create a new animation for it to be on his hip or somewhere else. This will have to do. So you see it draws it through his head. So I'll find a different animation for it, and I'll put that in later. I just wanted to get it functional and operational. So the next thing is there's a couple ways that I can fix the hand position for the weapons, and I'm going to do that the cheaty way and actually go into my character mesh that I've created. And see, I've got the rifle preview in here. Let's actually take that rifle out. No, let's leave that rifle in. But let's go to the preview controller and you change your specific animation. And then I'm going to pick rifle animation. Rifle idle. So you can see how his hand is not in the right position. But I've got some other issues. You can't see it in this view here. But what's happening is his wrist is getting twisted. So that's something else I'm going to have to address later on. The overall position is okay. The rifle itself appears to be scaled just a little bit wrong. So if I actually grab onto the rifle hand socket, I can actually go to the scaling and scale it down just one bump. And that puts it a little bit better scaling for the character size. And I just want to make sure that I'm right now in the trigger guard. So I can go ahead and click on that. And to make it a little bit easier, I'm going to hit pause and just drag it back to frame 1, just so it'll stop moving. And I'm just going to drag and move it around so his big old fat finger looks like it's in the trigger well. Even though it's sticking through his body a little bit, that's okay. And then we'll look at the arm position. You can actually grab the upper arm and try doing a rotation on it. Rotate it out. And occasionally it's good to go ahead and undo your snapping. Snapping is good for sometimes, but in this particular case, then I just want to turn it off. So that looks a little bit better. But you can definitely see that there's some twisting on his wrist. That's something that I will also address later. So if I hit save and then hit play here, so it'll play the animation, looks a little better overall. So again, let's actually go back in game and see how it looks. So it's still doing the same thing, even though we just changed it on the skeleton. Yeah, these guys are freaking out. So that is something we're going to have to keep looking at options of where we can actually fix that. You know, I could actually go into the character blueprint and change some of the other physics and other things that we were doing before. Yeah, sorry, I didn't have the window open. But yeah, John just mentioned this asset pack. Now, it does not come with these characters or anything. It comes with the standard UE4 mannequin and has its own animations and everything with it. It's really cool. I'm modifying the crap out of it, so it works with these new characters and my buildings and this hover bike. It does not come with a model for the hover bike that I'm using. Again, that's from the Sci-Fi pack, but it uses a placeholder model, which is easy to just swap out. It's not a big deal. Took me just a few moments to get it worked out. So I'm going to look at my animations, standard, riffle, and I've got my aim offsets, and I've got my blend spaces, and my montages. So if I look at my main ones here, rifle, these are my aim offsets. These are my regular animations for the rifle. If I were to look at the one I was previewing with earlier was the idle animation, which is this guy. Now this is the wrong animation because it's using the UE4 mannequin. So I need to be looking in my animation folder where I've converted the animations over. And I do have the unarmed animation for my NPC walking around. But let's look at the rifle animations. And it appears I don't have all of them because all I have is just the basic montages. So looking through here, this is the actual ones that were converted as well. I'm going to have to address these cycle animations because the character isn't in the right position. I want to kind of change his style around a little bit. Let's find the rifle idle. Got all the run animations right here. So now if I look at it and I zoom in, even though I changed it in the skeletal mesh, it's still not right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit pause, and I'm going to zoom back to the very first frame by just left clicking and dragging that red bar. And I can actually grab here this upper arm, and I got snapping turned off. Can make some changes to the way he's holding it here. Now that I've got it in what looks like the right position, I'm going to hit the key and then apply. And now if I hit play, there you go. He's holding it correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and let's take a look at it and see if it's fixed now. Still wrong. You bastard. But the weird thing is actually I'm using a different character for the preview asset, but it's correct here. But inside the game, his hand frickin' moves and he's gone. So let's actually grab the male FBI character. It doesn't really matter because it's still going to show up the same as that. Default HDMI image. HDRI? Yeah, because HDRI is... God, I have no idea where the hell it is in here, but the HDRI is the reflection on the other. You can see the background image here. It affects a few other things as well. But just want to fix this animation. Again, I'm not so much worried about his wrist. That's something that can be done in another window, another video. I just want to get where this is correct. It's good to go in here. So why isn't it working in the game? So let's see. Could actually look at all the individual ones like this. And again, this is 0 frames. This is actually part of the aim offset, I would assume. Yeah, that's why I'm looking at the reference poses here. That's CC, which would be the center. So just by changing the CC, it's still offset. I mean, I could actually go through all of them, but as you see, it's correct here. Again, that wrist is going to kill me until I actually fix that. Alright, it's off a little bit in this view, and again, that's minor. You can just make minor tweaks here and there on how these actually look. But the primary one is CC. That would be the center whenever it's actually aiming directly in the middle. So I fixed that one, and I fixed the idle animation, and they're working. But they're not working in-game. Now if I move up, it doesn't matter where I'm moving, that left arm is still being problematic. And this is just something you're going to have to expect whenever you're converting characters and so forth. Let's actually look at, this is aim offset 1D. Let's look at this one. As you can see, the arm position's off here inside the aim offset. So I'll move his arm here in the offset, and let's hit save there. And let's actually now take a look. Still wrong. Oh, gotta love it. Flying rifle. It'll drive me nuts because it's a small, insignificant thing. However, if you know, you look at it, it's annoying because whenever you're playing the game, you want it to actually look a little bit better. You want things to really look more functional. So let's actually look at these here. And again, that's the originals. I don't really want to mess with those. I'm in the wrong folder. Close that folder down. So I quit looking in the wrong one. So animations, rifle, and yeah, everything still throws it back to that wrong asset point. That's montage. We don't want to edit the montage. So even the fire animation, everything else is pointing to where it's in the wrong hand position. So I'm going to grab that upper arm again, and I'm just going to rotate it around, and I'm going to hit save. Don't matter to me if I actually go through and physically change every freaking animation to just do that. If you've got to do it, then that's what you got to do. And all I'm doing is grabbing the upper arm and rotating it slightly, and that's putting the hand in that more of a correct position. It just takes a couple seconds to do each animation that way. I mean, if it was more drastic, that'd be one thing, but something like this is a relatively quick thing to do, and if that little bit of time and effort is actually done to do it now, it'll look smoother. So when you decide you're going to try putting more weapons in, then yeah, we'll let that one ride. You don't have to suffer so much later on. You see, for some reason my NPCs are freaking out. Yeah, you better run. So it's still doing the wrong thing, even though I've changed it in all of these. Look at the animation blueprint and actually go through, like we did here on the aim offset. We pull the aim offset in here, and it's still showing the wrong position. So again, I grab the arm, drag it around, hit save. So that one I've already saved, and see, I go back in there and it's not saving it. So we're gonna actually have to go into the individual animations probably and do it that way, because inside the aim offset I changed it and hit save and it did not save it. So I'm going to look for the actual animation for rifle idle. We did that one earlier, and rifle CC we changed it. So again, I'll go in here and rotate it around, save it again. Let's actually hit pause. Even though there's only 0 frames, I'm going to go ahead and hit key and apply and then save on the rifle CC for the aim offset. And there we go. That's a lot better. So now we're going to have to do that to fix the hand position for each of the different locations and the reference poses for the aim offset. So that one actually looks pretty good, because what's going to happen is it's going to slide across. It wanted me to save there, or apply it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply and then save. And then I'm just going to quickly go through the different poses here. You can see the arm is off a little bit on this one, so I'll just do this and this. Pause it so it's actually at the beginning of the, not really an animation. I'm going to hit key and apply, then save. Yeah, you always want to keep backing up and going to the root of everything and just retrace the steps of how things actually work. So now I can do this, I can do this, hit key, apply, and I wasn't doing the key and apply on it so that it's setting the key for the animation. So you see now his hand's still sitting in the right spot, so that's good to go. And like I said, when you're doing a lot of conversion stuff, you're going to have to bite the bullet and do it. You know, just get it over with. If you want your characters to be right, then you got to spend a little bit of time to do it right. So this is about as much fun as watching paint dry, but again, it's necessary because players, yeah, and I'm a gamer, don't get me wrong, I love playing games, I love everything about them, it's great, it's awesome, everything else, but you know good and damn well if you're playing a game and you see something that's off by a little bit, like, oh, that's stupid, why didn't they fix that? Well, when you're the one actually having to fix all that shit, you're like, why can't they just shut up and enjoy the damn game? You know? The more time you take paying attention to detail and fixing the little things, the better your players are going to enjoy the experience overall. And honestly, if you're going to make a game and you're going to publish a damn thing and you want to make money off of it, then you need to go ahead and just do it. Hey, Heroic. How you doing, bud? Making some tweaks to that demo we tested yesterday. Get that hand position a little bit better and getting that cleaned up. Key, apply, save. So it's quick and easy. It's just that easy to fix these things. Open up the animation, hit pause, drag it back to frame 0. Make the minor changes you need to make on the hand positions just to make it look right. Hit key, hit apply, and if you want, you can hit play, and while you're waiting for that C-17 to fly overhead, hit save and close. So it's easy to do these things, but it just takes time to go through all of them. And again, it's worth it in the long run to get it done. It's just a little boring. And, you know, game development's not full of happiness and glamour all the time. It's not all super fancy, cool, awesome stuff. So we'll scroll back to frame 0, grab that arm again. Now, I probably could have done a few things differently whenever I retargeted this character. So, you know, you think that I would learn from my own mistakes? Because I have this issue from time to time with these characters. But John's asset pack works right out of the box. And it's because I'm modifying everything so much is why I'm having some little issues here and there. But you know what? They're not major issues. They're minor issues. And, you know, again, you put time into your project to do it right. It's worth it in the long run because people that play it will enjoy it. That's the thing is when you download and you purchase assets from the marketplace, they're awesome, but you actually have to know what you're doing to put them together to make them work for what you want them to do. If you're trying to make them do something other than what they were designed to do, or if you're trying to add your own character or your own animations or whatever, then you need to go ahead and just take some time, learn how the asset pack was created so that you can actually incorporate things the way that they need to be incorporated. You know, I know that I've talked to quite a few developers of asset packs that are on the marketplace, and they put things up and then they are flooded with frickin' emails. How do I get it to do this? How do I install it? How do I do this? You know, if you didn't know what you were getting into, I mean, I'm sure they appreciate the money for you buying the asset pack, but take a few minutes to actually look at what you're using. It's not that difficult to figure out how you can incorporate things to make it work for your needs, like I'm doing right now. I mean, seriously, how hard is this? If I want to fix the animations, open the animation, pause it, go to frame 0, make minor changes to it to get the hand positions just right, hit key, apply, and look, it works. And you know, these are good enough for now. I could probably stop if I wanted to. But if you're going to start something, go ahead and finish it. Speaking of starting something, tomorrow, if things go as planned, I have coordinated a trade to get a Jeep tomorrow. It is an absolute basket case, for the most part. It's going to need, which I'm going to document every part of the build process and upload it to YouTube, showing the before, during, and after. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of welding. There's going to be a lot of body repairs. There's going to be, yeah, I don't need to worry about that one. I'm not going to mess with the cycle ones just yet. So now if we go in here and play, still off a little bit here and there, but that's a whole hell of a lot better. And we haven't looked at the launcher ones yet, because look how bad the launcher one is. So it's way off. So that was just a rifle one. I'll actually come through off camera and do the launcher, because I'm sure you don't want to sit here and watch me do all of those. But again, I will do one of them just so you can see. We'll go over here to the CC. You can see his hand position. The weapon is like twisted. Yeah, and that's not even the right preview asset for that. So if I come over here, use specific animation, launcher. I'm not worried about the weapon position at this moment because I have the wrong asset in there, and I'll show you how to fix that as well. So we just want launcher idle, and then what I'm going to do is come back over here, and we're going to look at my mesh. I'm going to hit save really quickly. I'm going to find the preview asset for the rifle, which is here. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to find the launcher hand socket, right click on it, and I want to add preview asset, and I can just start typing in launcher, and we want the SK launcher. So now we've got it in there. We want to look at that same animation here. So we look at the preview controller, use specific animation. I want to use the same character that we're actually using. We're going to apply that to the asset. And then again, we're using the launcher idle animation as a basis to look at. So now if we look at it, we can see that the hand placement is okay here. But again, to be able to fix that, now if we close that guy and look through our launcher animations, we're going to see that we have some issues. So we go back to our animation blueprint, and again, I'm just going to pull one up. So now we can see the arm positions are wrong. So this one, it looks like the shoulder is actually in the wrong location. So I might be able to just drag the shoulder over a little bit as well, and then do some rotations on it, including the hand rotation, because you really want the hand to match the grip. So if you grab it and rotate that around a little bit, go back to your upper arm, and just play with the rotations on it and the lower arm. Get it the way you want. Pain in the ass. So spend some time, again, pause the replay so that whenever you do save this key, you're saving it on the 0. So I'll grab my upper arm, and I'm not going to make you guys suffer through watching all of these. Just want to fix this one for now. No, you asshole. Alright, that's going to be good enough for me for right now. That just changes that over, and I'm going to go ahead and hit key and apply, and it should look better for the CC position. So again, I'm just going to quickly change over to launcher, and I'm going to have to go through and change all of them like I just did for the rifle. So, no biggie. Alright, so let's stop watching paint dry and let's actually look at something a little bit more user-friendly. So, what I want to do here is, in my actual character blueprint, I want to change the way that it actually accesses the menu. So what I'm going to want to do is I want to change it to where it's an escape menu, plus I want to change the UI for the main menu, and I should probably bring in my own system, but I'm going to leave, this was John's setup for the multiplayer, so I'm just going to tweak that one a little bit as well, but I also want to add in an escape menu. So the first thing I want to do is go to the project settings and make sure that I have a key binding set for, hello, wrong freaking monitor. Let's go with input and action mapping. There's a bunch in here, but we don't have escape menu. So I'm going to go ahead and create an action mapping, and I want to use the keyboard escape key right there. And I want to change this mapping name to escape menu. So now all I'm going to do is just close that, and I want to go to the UI folder. We don't need that, and we'll just use the same UI folder from his for now. Go to the widgets folder, and I need to create a new widget. I need to create a user interface widget blueprint, and we're going to call this escape underscore menu. And actually, since I like my naming convention to be a certain way, we want to do W underscore so we know that it's a widget blueprint. Now we go into that widget blueprint, and all we really need is two buttons, main menu and resume. So we want to go back to the game if we didn't mean to hit the escape. Later we can do like a settings or whatever else, but for right now we're just going to go to the main menu, and we're going to go back into the game if we don't want to go back to the main menu. We can actually add in a third button, which would be for quit game. If you just want to quit, you can just hit that button. So we'll do all three. So what I want to do is I want to add a panel, come over here, and I want a vertical box. And I'm just going to drag that into here, and I'm going to scale it up a little bit, anchor it to the center, and we want to give it a basic dimensional size. Let's go with 500 by 500, and then the X and Y position, negative 250 by negative 250. It's going to center it up in the middle. And then I want to go ahead and grab the first button, and I'm going to drag it right into the vertical box here. And then I want to put some text on it. So this button I'm actually going to rename to main menu, or main menu underscore button. This is so that whenever I'm looking at it over here, I know what that button says. Then I'm going to go to the text block, and I'm going to type in main menu. So we've got some text now that'll show up on our button. And if you want to make any changes to the way your style of your button looks, do that now, and then all you got to do is just copy and paste your button. But what I also want to add in here is a spacer in between. So I want to come to primitive, grab a spacer, and I'm going to drag that directly into my vertical box. Now this spacer, I want to go ahead and set it to be 20 by 20. You really need to do the Y if you're doing the up and down axis. But I'm going to start it off at a 50 space. Actually, I started off at a 40 space because this button's height is going to be 40. So we'll have a spacer of 40, and then we're going to add another button. So now we can actually grab this one and this one, copy, and now click back on your vertical box and Control V, and you don't need that bottom spacer. And now we can rename our middle button to quit underscore button, and change its text over to QUIT, quit game. And then our last button here, we'll just go ahead and call that the resume underscore button. And we want to change our text to resume game. So now we don't need all of this extra space in here. So let's actually go ahead and drag that up to here. We're going to leave it in the position that it's in. That way it's a little bit higher than center, and it pops it up more in line with the eyes, so to speak. So now we've got our look for our main menu, our escape menu button. Let's actually try to put some functionality to it. So we go to our graph, and the first thing I want to do is throw all those guys away. I don't want them right now. And what we want to do is our main menu button on clicked, quit button on clicked, and resume button on clicked. Let's go ahead and get all three of them in there. When we go to our main menu, what we want to do is now go to a main menu. In this particular case, we want to do the main menu map is where it's actually going to. And in this particular situation for his asset system, it's main menu 1, the MP underscore. Again, just double click on it a couple times, Control C, so you can actually copy the name of the actual map name. And all we're going to do is, first off, I want to do destroy session, and go ahead and get player controller. The reason why you want to destroy a session is if you don't end the sessions you're actually in when you go back to the main menu, then you're not going to be able to easily create a new session. So I just go ahead and do it there, or actually in the blueprint for the main menu map, whenever you go into it, then I usually say destroy the session. So then on success, and we want to go from here instead of from this executable. We want to go from the on success. We want to open level, and we want to paste in the name for the main menu map. So when we click on the main menu button, it's going to destroy our session and put us back in the main menu so we can create a new session. So that will be lovely. On clicked quit button. How do we cause it to quit the game? Oh, we can just use quit button. A quit game. Oh, that would be too easy. So there we go. I'm not really worried about this right here, but if you wanted to, you could go ahead and put in your get player controller. I've never actually put this onto the quit game, but I guess you could. We'll see if it actually works. Now, on clicked resume button. How are we going to make this work? We need to make this menu go away whenever we click this button. So how are we going to make it go away? The normal thing would be to just say remove from parent. But what we're going to want to do though is we want to make sure that we no longer have the mouse cursor, because we want the mouse cursor to pop up when we hit the escape button. So let's go ahead and drag that over here, and we want to set input to game only. And hey, look what we need. Get player controller. We'll drag that doohickey in here. So now we can go to actually want to drag from here, set show mouse cursor, so we can actually turn the mouse cursor off because we no longer need it. Then we can destroy our parent, and I'm sure I'm forgetting something here, but I'll be reminded very shortly. So when we hit the resume button, then we want it to set our game mode back to game only, and or input mode rather, and we want to turn off the mouse cursor, and we want to get rid of this menu. But now we need to actually show this menu, so we need to go to our player character, and I'm going to try not to focus in on, you can read all this stuff from the blueprint, right? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to zoom in so we're not giving away any free stuff from his hard work. And I just want to find an empty spot. We're actually going to go down. Here is lovely. I don't care. So we need to do escape menu for the action because we already created the custom input action. And then we want to go ahead and on pressed, we want to create a widget. And the widget that we wish to create is the escape menu. So W_escape menu. Owning player. Well, guess what we need? Get player controller. Yay. So that's good. And from there we want to add to viewport so we can actually see it. And then we want to make sure that we set our game mode or input mode. So set input to UI only so that our player is not going to be moving around and walking while we're doing this. And then we want to set show mouse cursor, and I'm just going to go ahead and drag that over here. We want to see our mouse cursor, so we check that box. We want to set the widget to focus, just connect it to there, and yeah, that's good to go. So what we're doing now is when we hit the escape key, it's going to create the widget, it's going to add it to our viewport, and it's going to set our game or input mode to UI only and give us a mouse cursor. So again, I feel like I'm forgetting something. So the only way I'm going to be able to test this appropriately is if I actually go over here and I play from a standalone game so that I'm not in the regular one. And I'll go ahead and save that. Even though I didn't change anything, I'll save those. This is like basic level stuff, calling widgets. Awesome, right? So, I don't know why we had that long pause, but okay. We're in the game, we're playing, everything's awesome. I'm like, you know what, screw this. I'm out of here. I want to hit the escape menu. There we go. Main menu. Well, let's start with resume game. And there we go. We're able to resume the game. Now if we hit the escape menu again, let's try quit game, and it closes the game down. And we'll go back into it, play it one more time, and let's try the main menu. So go into our game. Now we're going directly into this. That's why we're having some loading times, and then instead of going from the main menu directly into the game. So we hit escape. Let's go to main menu. And let's see what happens. Nothing. Alright, so let's figure out what's happening with that. So let's quit game. We click on main menu button. Let's actually get rid of, for now, the destroy session. Let's go directly into the open level. This is typically what I normally do, is that. Compile and save. And I normally put the destroy session on the actual map itself. So I'll actually try that here in just a second to make sure that it is ending the session. But let's actually make sure that we can actually get to our main menu first. Alright, so we're in game, everything's awesome. Hit escape, hit main menu, and it goes to a black screen. Let's see if it actually loads the main menu. It actually works a lot faster once the actual game is packaged and playing. Doesn't appear to be working. So let's go ahead and see. Let's go to the main menu map. And if I hit play from here, it should load the menu. Because the world settings, oh, I see. There is nothing set here. There's no game mode override. There's nothing. So, John, that was the right map, wasn't it? MP main menu. With sneaky feeling, I'm just going to go ahead and load my own multiplayer system in, but I wanted to look at this one because I got rid of the overview map just to clear up space. and the MP main menu, it was obviously working before whenever we played it in the standalone, but there's no game mode set up for it. Let's take a look at in our UI widgets or multiplayer widgets. You got that's for the player widgets. See, that's for in-game. So let's actually look at the blueprint really quickly. Open level blueprint, and all that's in there. I could actually, on the event begin play, do the destroy session there. Begin play, show main menu. Yeah, so I don't normally do it that way, because if I go right here and I just hit play, it should load the main menu and it should play the game normally. So this, by going to the main menu, it should be simulating that it, see, there it is. So it's actually working this way. So maybe there just wasn't enough time. So I'm going to hit host game, go into the actual game itself, and run it this way, because this is the way it would be if you're actually playing. So we're running around the game, everything is awesome. Hack, slash, shoot, plasma launcher, jetpack, everything is working lovely. So I want to go back to the main menu, click that, and let's give it a second to see if it loads, because for some reason in standalone it takes longer to load, like I said, than normal. So I'm going to give this just a minute to see if it actually does pop up. And honestly, if it doesn't within a few more seconds, then I'm going to go ahead and change over to my main menu system, and all I'm going to do is drag in my multiplayer template into this project and just kind of tweak it around a little bit to use mine. So yeah, it's not coming up. So that being the case, I will look at that part later. I've got another version of this project saved, so I'm actually going to go ahead and utilize my main menu system, and I don't need that right now. Don't need that right now. I will, but I don't need it right now. What's up, dude? Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and see what it can take for me to just copy these files in. Yeah, see, I don't have that problem with my multiplayer system, so instead of tweaking yours, I'm just going to drop in one that I know that works. So I'm just going to find my actual unmodified core version of it, which is my marketplace, simple multiplayer content, and all I really need to grab is my UI stuff from my folder, which actually can drag my whole root UI folder in. And I'm just going to drag this in live. This is not usually the best way of doing things. However, I'm going to do it, and it usually works for me. So I'm just going to, as you can see, there is no UI folder right now, but I'm actually going to drag in a separate UI folder and put it right there, copy it in, and you can see I just created it. If you were paying attention to over here, you can see that this popped up and it popped up here because I'm manually dragging stuff in. And I'm going to go ahead and copy in my main menu map into the maps folder. So if we look at the maps folder here, we can see we just have the city map, and I'm going to copy it in. So there we go, we see it in there. So now if I go into the main menu map you don't really see anything, but you can see that I have main menu game mode, I have no default pawn class, main menu HUD, player controller, everything is all set up for my main menu system. And now I just want to go ahead and look at my widgets. If we look at the escape menu widget that I already have here, we're actually going to delete this one because we already created one. And we'll actually continue to use my version, the version that I made in the other folder. Go into the main menu widget. Now I see there's a lot of stuff missing right here. So this was not the best way of doing things. You can see that I've killed everything on it. There should be an easy way for me to quickly fix this. So usually whenever I'm building anything, I always start off with my own version and work from there. Well, that's not good, dude. Keep your ass in the house and, you know, pray for those who got hurt. Alright, so with all these issues that we're having here, async, yeah. Because I obviously did not copy in something else. So let me, oh, I know what it is. Before I even get too far carried away, let's go ahead and hit a save all, make sure everything's saved, and I have to go to plugins. I'm using additional plugins. I'm using advanced sessions and advanced Steam sessions for my setup. So I'm going to go ahead and activate those two and hit restart now. So I can, that's probably why I got all those errors by loading mine. It's because I didn't have the plugins. So let's wait for this to pop up, and that should have taken care of the issue. So with those plugins, now let's load the main menu widget. All those errors are gone. Oh no. The next thing we want to do is make sure that when we're in our main menu, we can choose to go to this correct map. So I want to make sure that I may not know how to spell city, so let's go ahead and copy it and let's paste that in here. And I want everybody to not look, because this is my top secret, really ultra cool things here. You hit single player, go to the city map. Scroll out. I'm actually going to drag this off screen because I need to change the map also, because, well, you know, I sell this, the simple multiplayer template, and that's part of my form of making money, like John's asset packs that he does. And I'm changing the map in there. What I'll end up doing later is setting up a system for doing multiple maps. So now let's save all, and I want to get the main menu map here. So we're going to use my main menu map now for our escape menu. So let's go back to where we're in this UI folder, the widgets, and our escape menu widget that we just created. Look at the design graph, and we'll do that. Main menu map, compile, save, close that. Let's actually go to that main menu map. Not that one. That one. So you can see there's nothing there to look at. But if we look at our blueprints, open level blueprint, you can see we've got our destroy session is in there. So that's good. Now if we were to hit play in the standalone, let it open up. Yeah, we've already been doing this for an hour. Seems like we just started. Go to multiplayer, host, give it a really cool name, hit make, and there's no loading screen in between because I didn't set that up to go for a transition there. But now we're in it. we're running around. Gun still works. Jetpack works. I don't give a shit who you are. If you don't like a jetpack, you can kiss my ass. Jetpacks are freaking awesome. So now let's hit escape. Resume game. Escape. Main menu. And there's the main menu. Okay, we had single player. Test to see that it actually goes into the game. And there we go. These dudes are absolutely freaking out. Alright, so let's go ahead and try the quit game button so that works. So, yeah, my simple multiplayer template, even though it does require using third-party plugins, that's why it wasn't allowed to be on the marketplace, because it uses plugins that are not currently available on the marketplace. But my simple multiplayer, you saw how quickly I incorporated it and made it work just by copying the files in, activating the plugins, and there you go, it's done. Not saying anything about your menu there, John, but mine's purty. If you look at it in standalone, you got the functionality here. Go connect to Steam Dummy. So if you don't have your Steam account up and running, it's going to remind you to go turn on Steam, because this does use more, and it will be using more functionality later down the line. This was just the basic version of this system, and yeah, I know. UI for some people is a pain in the ass. I actually enjoy screwing around with it a little bit here and there. I don't need LAN. 99.99% of it. You're like the only person on the planet that I know of that still wants a LAN mode. And I don't use LAN. Nobody else uses LAN. You're the only person. So that's why I didn't incorporate LAN in my multiplayer system. I mean, it would not be hard. The ever-loving fuck was that about? No, the stream is not fucking complete. I have no idea, but OBS just decided it was going to disconnect and reconnect. Well, nobody cares about your game. You're on my team. Get to work, boy. Finish building my stuff. What do I pay you for? Oh, wait, I don't pay you. Never mind. Well, you're about the only person that's doing any damn work right now, so I guess I should probably throw you like a quarter or something. But you've been on vacation for too long. You need to get caught up on some work, you know. But yeah, with the way that my menu's set up, I might actually throw the LAN functionality back in, but I'll hide it through 15 different menus. So just for you. So run it in standalone game again, so you can look at the menu. The functionality of the menu is simple. So we'll bring this up, and I've used this same basic menu now for a few months. I like it. It's simple. It works. It's clean. It allows you to actually put in an image here in the main body of it, music, things like that. I said, when it comes to music, I think music is part of a game. You just have to have music. And, you know, I've actually been looking through and playing on the website for TechnoAxe. And if you guys have not checked out TechnoAxe before, if you're making a game, you need to have music. And, you know, honestly, it's one of those things where music can make or break a game. Sound effects will make or break a game. If the sound effects are just corny as crap, then people are just going to get, it sounds terrible. So with TechnoAxe, and this might be boring for some of you guys, but it's something that I feel that's important to have in a game, and that's good music. It's like the theme music for my intro that I normally use is called I'm Everywhere, and I've broken it up into different bits here and there, so there's different versions of it. Again, need to reorganize everything. For those who followed my little demo games that I throw together quickly, you'll probably recognize some of these. This one actually I haven't used, but this one right here, I know you guys have heard before if you're familiar with any of my games. So, Emerging from the Ashes with Charm. The name of the site is TechnoAxe. And we'll go ahead and close that down, and I will grab the link really quickly, and I will paste the link in here. I put the link in many times before, but you know what? I don't mind sharing it. It's royalty-free music, and all you really have to do is just throw his icon in and give him the proper credit for his work. Dude's awesome, man. He does great work, so I don't mind promoting his work at his website. So, actually going to grab the link here and post it here. Technoaxe.com. TEKNOAXE.com. Great stuff. So, like with Skippy, my boy Skippy, which he needs to get his ass back around. Yeah, so want to get his butt back in and participating. So we like having Skippy around. He's good people. So I downloaded a bunch of horror sounds and horror music, and I said these are all TechnoAxe music here. Kind of a good pirate theme to it. But the ones that I actually got for him that I liked the most were Forest Ghosts. Tell me that's not a good... I'm just going to play little bits of them, but it has a really, really cool vibe to it, you know? But for what we're doing here for this sci-fi version, we need something a little bit more... well, sci-fi. So I've got some that I've downloaded, just random ones here and there. I don't even have them in a decent order or anything else. But you kind of want kind of a... yeah, that's too soft. Usually you'll know within a few seconds whether or not something is going to really work. Because it's that hit when a song first starts. It's going to give you a lot of your information of how you're going to feel while you're actually listening to it. And for game music, this is not a subject that... Two Steps from Hell. Is that on his site? You want, for game music, you don't want it to be this obnoxious crap that's just blowing your eardrums out. Well, we're promoting TechnoAxe at the moment, so you don't want something that's going to really just annoy the crap out of old people, but you don't want something that's going to put people to sleep. Oh, well, we'll worry about that later. I mean, TechnoAxe, I've spoke with the guy before. He's a really awesome guy, so I'm just helping to promote his stuff as well, because it is awesome shit. I wouldn't promote somebody I didn't really care for. Like I said, when you're picking your music, you really want something that's just gonna, for a main menu, you want something that's gonna be passive and invisible, but there. Does that make sense? You want to know that there's music playing, but you don't want this holy shit that's just invasive to my eardrums. So you're going to want to listen to the same song probably 30 frickin' times. And if you still can not hate it after about 20 times listening to it, then it's a good song for your purpose. I had a couple of them in here that were just... it was that, oh no, that's just way too much. And each game has its own feel and how you want your players to feel. Because if you start your game up and your music is just... boring as crap, you're not setting the player in the right frame of mind to play. If you want fast, heavy-duty action, you want the player to start getting that feeling, getting their blood stirring while they're in their main menu, like getting the anticipation built up. All right, I'm ready to go. So you want to build that right off the bat. And if you're wanting to build people into a high tense situation, get them into some fast-paced combat, and you hear this to begin with, I'm ready for a freaking nap. Oh, that'd be cool. You know, I need to get back to work on the hover car that I started on. This is fast-paced, but this is, to me, too much. That would just annoy the crap out of me, and it sounds like a late 90s video game sound. So that one just didn't work for me. So you'll actually spend a lot of time... Well, the hover tank is a given. And if somebody would hurry up and get me that damn war pack from Cinti Studios, then I could actually start working on tank turrets and things like that. Well, if you had, you know... Yeah, so the Sci-Fi pack from Cinti Studios, if they actually would hurry up and get off their ass and put it in for Unreal Engine 4, so I could actually buy it and download it, you know, the conversion from Unity. Yeah, see, that's the thing about tank games. You like World of Stank and War Thunder and all those games that have all these different tanks in them. You got one person that's operating as the driver, the gunner, the loader, the commander. One person's doing everything. And in real life, that shit don't happen, Captain. It's, you know, one person can't operate a damn tank. So I've always liked the fact of forcing people into a cooperative mode. One person needs to suck it up and be the driver. One person needs to be the gunner. Don't necessarily need a loader, but at least a two-person crew to operate a tank, I think, makes sense. Same thing with a frickin' battleship or a cruiser. Seriously, do you think a battleship operates as a one-man object? Well, something to look at is like with the current project, and we'll actually cover more. I'll do another separate video just on choosing music for a video game, because that right now is not really what I'm doing for this particular video. But if we go into the city map, probably should just go into a test map, but it's like I've got this little quadcopter up here, and you know, that's cool, but there's also in that asset pack there is it was in props. You have this guy. I'm just gonna pop him in here, and then I'll actually take a look at him here in just a second. This one, not sure what the difference is besides size. You've got this guy. You got this one, and we've already seen the other one. So I'm actually going to click off of them so we can take a look. We've got two different size drones here with weapons. You've got this little guy. It looks like a frickin' bee. No visible weapons, so I don't know what you do with him other than, like, the red right here might actually be a missile launcher, I guess we could say, or shoot a laser out of it. Same thing with this one, could shoot a laser from the center, or it could be a seeker, where it would actually track to a player and just explode, or to a vehicle or whatever else. But having two hover assault drones, or whatever you want to call them, want to set these guys up to where they can actually be patrolling like NPCs and hovering above the ground, so you don't need any kind of animations for doing that. And they would operate just like a turret that actually just slides around the ground over a certain height. So it would be relatively easy to set these guys up to actually move. And, getting them to have weapons, particle weapons, whatever else will be absolutely cool. The hover card that I was working on, far from being finished. I'll actually throw one in just to kind of get the idea of where I'm going with it. See, I've got the camera set up. And this is based off of the setup for the hover cycle. I'm actually going to play in selected viewport. And then I'm actually going to come back over here where I actually just put the damn thing down. And then right click here and play from here. And he just fell through the damn ground. Really? So let's actually pick him up a little bit. And let's see what happens. So it's not sitting correctly. I mean, I can fix that, but I can't just walk over here and get into it. And it's set up to despawn just like the hover bike is. Essentially all I did was just change the mesh. And I made sure that the skeleton had the driver position and passenger position. So this would be a two-person vehicle as well. But there's no way to enter it. So we'll probably have to look at the character and see if it was subbing in there for... Which I don't want to do that on camera because I don't want to show the code for it. But I will try to glance at it really quickly. That was my escape menu. Let's go ahead and do that. And escape. Escape menu. And just for giggles, I'm going to go ahead and make it red. So, driver interact with vehicle. Again, I don't want to show anything on here, so I'll do that actually off camera, but I'm pretty sure that it's something to do with that. Yeah, so I'll look at that later on, but need to be able to interact with it so I can get in or out. Alright. So it'd be cool to actually have it spawn from here, but what I would like to do is instead of actually no, I don't think I made it a child. Actually, I may have, I don't remember. I don't need the UI, I need the... Well, it's got the dots there, so I think it is a child. Yeah, it is a child from it. So I made a child actor. Let's open the full blueprint. So you can see, yeah, it is a child actor from there. And all I really did was change the skeletal mesh and rescale a little bit of the... See, I think the player collision is too tall, and that's why it was having that rocking thing. And you can actually scale that down some too. It doesn't want me to scale it in that rate. Don't mind scaling that way, but actually you have to do it this way. Scale that capsule down for the passenger collision. Because I think what was happening is the passenger collision was actually sticking through the ground and going below. Alright, I'll look at the station, but these I don't actually have set to spawn from there. So in the station, it's actually in assets. Was it? No. gameplay. Stations and the vehicle station. As you can see, I changed the actual stuff for the blueprint. I don't actually have the vehicle spawning from there, and I just changed the meshes of some of the things so I didn't have to change the variables. So yeah, the station itself doesn't actually have anything to do. Oh wait, there was a vehicle to spawn variable. Vehicle to spawn was the vehicle cycle, and you see my H for hover Sportster is for the car there, but it's doing the vehicle cycle. Could probably change this variable to be what, an array, and we'll see. I want to keep the, I don't want to spawn a new one just yet. I mean, I could actually modify the station to where we could just do this basic code right here, copy that over, and change this to a 2, so have 1 and 2. Yeah, it's settable already. So that if you hit the, instead of just hitting the number 1 key, then you hit the number 2 key. So it's got overlap character, and target is the only thing that's coming from this part. So technically speaking, if I want to add in another one, then really and truly all I have to do is just take this stuff right here, Control C, and for now I'm going to put it over here, Control V, and I want to change this to keyboard 2, and we'll actually have to, they're both coming from as BP character master. We're actually going to move it a little bit closer to drag it over. So grab from here, go to target, grab from here, and go to overlap character. Now that's actually going to give me a number 2 to give me the vehicle to spawn, and the vehicle to spawn at this point, that's not going to do me any good because that's the vehicle cycle. So could actually, can't really duplicate that one, but I can actually create another new variable, and we're going to call this vehicle 2. I don't care. I'm going to change it around anyway. But that variable actually needs to be the same as this. This is actually, if you look at the variable type, is BP vehicle cycle whatever. So we're actually going to try that. Go to the variable type, and we're looking for H underscore, no, underscore Sportster. But that's not actually going to work because that's actually referring directly to the thing. So we need to change that variable type. This variable type is actually a class. So we need to look for, what type variable was that? It is a, make this variable a container. Oh no, never mind. Current type vehicle cycle master. Oh, okay. Well, you know, I mean, honestly, I can actually just change the variable type to, you know, I don't need to make that a new variable. Since this variable is referenced here one time only, then what it actually can do, so you got vehicle to spawn, and It's just the one basic variable. What about just making it into a array? Because it's set as a vehicle class. Because if you actually grab the information from there, god damn it, YouTube. Refresh, you piece of crap. So, okay. What if I were to grab from this, and because that's referring to vehicle master class. Because if I create a new variable based off of that, hover underscore car and change the variable type to BP vehicle cycle master class reference, and there we go. So now if we look and we do compile and save with the hover car selected, then we come down here and select Sportster, compile and save one more time, and let's actually hit play. It's actually boogie on over here. We don't care about the one that spawned manually into the map there, because I'm pretty sure that we're still not going to be able to use it as a raw blueprint. So yeah, I can't hit enter. Oh, and I just forgot to mention that during testing, the passenger could actually still turn on their jetpack, get sounds, burn through energy and everything else. So if we hit the 2 key, it still spawns that. So I hit 1, come on, despawn. Hit the 1 key, the cycle spawns, no problem. Oh, yeah. I kind of need to probably dump that and put that one in. I probably could have just taken that off and selected it right there as well. I got lights in on the other car. So it's actually one over here. I guess I could have just right-clicked and play from here, but oh well. So now if we come over, there we go, that spawns, and there we go. So the collision's not right, but, you know, that's fixable. The camera position sucks donkey nuts, that's also fixable. And the sound is freaking horrible. Who the hell made that sound file? I set the respawn time to like, or despawn time to like a minute. If your farts sound like this, you need to really adjust your damn fiber intake, bro. Seriously. So let's fix that camera. I want to go ahead and first off move it back a little bit, and let's move it up a little bit. Get out of my damn way, you idiot friggin' bot. So I need to do some testing to, because I can see that the nameplate is the wrong direction. So I'm pretty sure that I can see my head and my arms sticking out the side of the car. So that's something that's definitely going to have to be fixed. I like this view a little bit better. So we'll have to add in some taillights later too. So let's go ahead and look at our Sportster. We actually don't need to look at this view. We actually need to... We'll leave this one open. We need to go into the skeleton for it and change the orientation. So our Dudosauruses are facing the correct. So grab the driver socket, and we need to rotate it 90 degrees. You need to kiss my ass, set your rotation back to snapping, and rotate it 90. And then I'm going to go ahead and pick it up a little bit, move forward just a hair. And we're going to save. We're going to grab the passenger socket, and I'm pretty sure I'm also going to need to rotate it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees and bring it up, bring it over, and assume that that's correct until I can get in and do some testing. And again, you know, probably should have done play from here so I could actually start in front of the damn spawner. Jetpacks. Run out of juice. Alright, so let's grab our car and see how it looks now. So choosing this size for the pad seemed to work out pretty good for the cars. So the name is facing correctly, and it looks like our dude's in the right position for the most part. And so we definitely need to do some squashing stuff so you run over pedestrians. So that's good. We actually have a hover car. We have the hover bike, and you can spawn them separately. The problem you're going to run into is let's run over some traffic cones. Is the shooting ability while you're in the car, the passenger being able to shoot, might be a little bit funky because of the fact that they're in a car and they'll be shooting through the windshield or whatever. Looks so funky whenever you go through like that. And all right, so that's the CoG Sci-Fi. What I'm going to do is there any other immediate tweaks that I need to really address before I go ahead and package this version and do some play testing? I like to get a bunch of people together, except for Draco. You know, he can't play with us because he's on a different planet. Get together with some people as soon as the upload is done. Just try to get as many people as you know of that's on the East Coast of North America to work with this Steam system. Yeah, you're special ed. That's what the hell you are. But I love you anyway, especially whenever it's cold outside. We'll do some. We'll try to get as many people as you know of. The multiplayer Steam system that I use has set for 100 players, which is a bit nice. We'll give you a star. So we still have the motorcycle, and we try to spawn in the hover car on top. It will not spawn it on top. So let's see what happens if we just grab this and then get it out of the way. Before it despawns, let's try to spawn another one. It won't do it. So we have to wait for the bike to despawn. As soon as it goes away, I can spawn the car. And I'm going to go ahead and change the despawn time for the Sportster. I changed it like a freaking minute or something like that, because I wanted it to stick around so I could actually see the damn thing. Vehicle despawn timer. Let's change that to 20 seconds. We'll see the spawner right here. You go in here, you go to that console, you hit the number 1 key, you get a bike. You hit the number 2 key, you get the sports car. So for now, this is how it's going to work. So you can actually, whenever you go to one of these two spawner stores, later on, this will be actually a widget that will pop up when you go to this console, and you're not going to get them free. You'll actually have to use credits to actually buy the bike or buy the actual thing. But what I would also like to later on do is set it to where when you do buy it, it now becomes something you can spawn whenever you want to, instead of coming here. The first time you buy it, it spawns from here, we'll say, but after that, then it'll check to see whether or not you own it, and if you do own the bike, then, oh no, there's a right to car down here, then you'll be able to say, okay, since I own this particular car or this particular bike, then I can open up a menu and spawn it, or do a World of Warcraft thing where you can actually spawn in like a mount. You're buying a mount, and once you purchase it, you have the ability to go ahead and spawn it whenever you want to. But we'll have to balance the spawn times and locations and conditions and stuff like that. But want to make it to where you purchase it and you then have the ability to spawn it whenever you want. For now, this will do just lovely. This will get us in here testing. So we got the spawn timer set. We got rid of the additional car over here. That's working for that. Is there anything that I'm forgetting before I go ahead and set this thing to pack and go ahead and close this stream down and then upload a playable version to the lobby or the public Discord? Anything I forgot? We tweaked the hand positions on the rifle. Yeah, let's quickly look at the jetpack. So that, to me, should be a player character issue, because I don't remember seeing anything in the actual vehicle blueprints. I want to look at really quickly to see if I've got a prop that actually looks like a jetpack we could actually apply to the player character. So you can say, well, would you have a really, really bad case of gas? That's why you're able to fly. Just see if there's a prop that I can throw on the character's mesh to look like a like a backpack jetpack or something like that. So you're not just shooting stuff out of your butt and flying around. Let's see here. Medical chair prop. Robotic parts. That might be something to look at. You just want to look like you actually have something. Doesn't matter what it really is for now, but I mean, it's fine. Guess I can worry with that part of it actually later. But I just want to have something on the player's back that says, hey, this person has a jetpack. And again, later on, I will actually go in and disable the jetpack partially. Well, first thing I know, that before I forget about it, is make sure in my project settings I have the right map saved for packaging. So we got the city map, but we want to change this map over. We want to go to, we're actually in a different project instead of that one. We're in Skiffy, content, maps, main menu map. So now we have main menu map and city map. That should be good to go. And now let's get back to looking at the blueprints. So yeah, the jetpack itself, I want to disable everything, and I want you to have to frickin' buy the ability to do certain things. Passenger interact with vehicle. I'm assuming that would be the location, and we need to look at creating a variable system saying is passenger. Well, you already got an is passenger. I'm not zooming in all the way. Hopefully you guys can't zoom in enough to read this stuff, especially since I'm streaming in 720, because I don't want to give away his code. Like, well, hell, I don't need to buy his shit if I can just look at that dumbass Beefalo's video and zoom in and look at it. Yeah, I see the variable is passenger. Server stop jetpack is there. So Yeah, server stop jetpack though. That's whenever you're looking at the passenger interact with vehicle. The server attach passenger to vehicle. You got the you set variable. You got true checked on this passenger. Server stop jetpack is there, so that should say stop using jetpack. So server stop jetpack, I guess that's okay to look at. So in server stop jetpack, we just need to multicast jetpack fade stop jetpack. No, I mean honestly, it needs to be input action jetpack. Server start jetpack, and then I would say it needs to be inside there for starting the jetpack, and then need to run a branch check here, I'm going to assume, and I'm going to try that. Yeah, so server start jetpack. I'm just going to run a branch node there, and I'm going to do the is passenger check. And off of false, not off of true. So is passenger needs to be set to false. Reference, no. Boolean variables. Oh, well, you know what? Is passenger is right there. Drop it right in. So now it's going to check, is you a passenger? If it's true, then it's going to do nothing. If it's false, then it'll start the multicast for going into starting your jetpack functionality. So I'm going to try it as that, and if I break it all, then screw it. Then I know where I broke it. I can come back and quickly fix it back out again. So that should be good on that. Everything else should be good to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and kill off a stream. I'm going to start the package right now, and I will go ahead and do a quick play test to make sure I got everything right, and then I will pack it, ship it up to my Google Drive account, and I will put a link in the public lobby and get as many people to test it out as possible. Add it to the driver. Well, the driver, it wasn't working. Whenever you try to do the jetpack while you're a driver, it wasn't. It was only while passenger. So that's why I went ahead and did it as that. So, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, I'll go ahead and package this up, and I'll run a quick test. I'll put it in a RAR file, upload it, and we'll go from there. I'm going to make sure that I go to Maps, Save All. I'm going to go back to my main menu map. So this should be functioning pretty well right now. Still need a whole hell of a lot more tweaks, but we're getting closer. So going to package this for Windows 64, Vion 60. And actually, before I package it, I need to go to that folder, and I need to nuke the version that I have been using. Let's close that. Let's close the gun models. We don't need that. And we don't need the Wild West. We need the CoG Skiffy. I'm going to delete those files. And then, with that folder being empty, absolutely. Yeah, if you guys want this jetpack template, John's selling it for 20 bucks. Pretty freaking kick-ass. His multiplayer, it was all working, but if you want to buy my multiplayer, it's another 20 bucks. And if you want to buy the sci-fi pack, tough shit, it's not for sale. Unless you want to buy the Unity version and then convert it yourself. But the Unreal Engine 4 version is not available just yet, but You don't need it. You can get some of the other packs. But you buy John's Jetpack, you buy my multiplayer Steam system, and you get your own Cindy Studios products yourself. So now we're going to go ahead and package in Windows 64 and let it do its thing. Now we're in that folder, select folder, and bang, it'll go do its thing. I know it's going to work because it's awesome like that. Feature level 3, template 0, show progress 1. So it's just going to do its thing, package. Whenever it gets done, all this will just go away, and the output log will still stay up because I opened it manually. But it's going to package everything. Like I said, if you guys want, I'll go ahead and wait because, you know, what the hell? I normally do 1 hour. We're almost at the 2 hour mark, so 5 minutes, whatever. We'll let this package. It won't take that long to actually package up, and then I'll actually launch it. We'll look at it, play both the hover bike and the hover car, and then we'll go from there. And if I want to, later on, I can add in the taxi cab, the police car, or I can start changing some skins around or whatever else. But for right now, I just want to get the main functionality of things working so that we have more stuff to do in the demo. Then I'll start working on an actual map later to where we can actually set up some really hardcore shit. Free-for-all, run and gun, that kind of stuff. And then I want to start setting up the actual game mode that I want for this. And I want this sci-fi to actually become a MOBA slash whatever. Essentially what it'll be is there will be 2 opposing teams, which we need to get team functionality going to, which is available, I believe, in John's advanced version of this asset pack. But I want to set up the teams, so you got red team and blue team or whatever, and there will be a center point where you're assaulting to the center, and whenever you control, your team controls the center, then you start gaining resource points. Use those resource points to set up your main base area to defend with. You'll be able to buy, say, the attack drones that will patrol around the perimeter of your base, or set up gun turrets or whatever else that'll actually work to defend your base. And if you want to win, then you need to assault the enemy base and get in, capture their flag, which will then, you know, eliminate. And then once you've captured their flag, then you need to eliminate all of the standing players. So it's a kill them all and let them all get sorted out that way. I'll explain the game mode for it later, but I want it to be a team versus team effort, and you will be able to control different access points to packaging complete. And yeah, make it fun. That'll actually be one of the game modes for the main part of CoG. Make sure we do a save all. I'm actually going to close Unreal Engine 4. I'm going to close the Epic Launcher. Sorry, I hate seeing that little freaking 1 right there saying that one person's used the damn at everyone, and I have to go clear that crap. So again, whenever I package mine, you see that it's in the CoG Sci-Fi folder. It creates a folder called Windows No Editor. I don't like that. So I open it up, I go into there, and I drag that back into the root folder of the CoG Sci-Fi, and then I come in here and delete the Windows No Editor. It just annoys the crap out of me. And then all I have to do is double click on CoG Sci-Fi application. There we go. And fuck me to tears, it's loading your main menu shit. So I guess we're gonna have to go back in here, and since we changed over to my main menu system, it actually, something wasn't right, and I know what I forgot to do. So I'm going to go back into it, go back into the project. I need to go back in here. I need to delete all this. Yes, delete the motherfucking thing. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Goddamn piece of shit. So, what I forgot to do was in Edit, Project Settings, and then Maps and Modes, we're no longer using that. we want to change the game default map to main menu map, my map. And yep, that's good. There is no transition map. That should be good to go. So let's actually go back and repackage this sumbitch and see if we can do it right. So I'm not going to make you sit here and watch that, but that will take care of the issue. So I'm going to go ahead and repackage it, and I will get that right. I will get that uploaded. It'll take about 15 minutes or so for me to upload it, because the file size is still under 120 megabytes with everything you see inside here. So that's pretty cool. It's for rapid prototyping and testing, and being able to get in here and do this. It's freaking awesome. So I'm going to end the stream now. I'll go ahead and get it uploaded, and I will post a copy of it in the public lobby. And I would like as many people as possible to jump in here, and let's test it, and let's have some fun. Alright, thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next video, which I will go ahead and start setting up and doing a video for music. Planning your music and that kind of stuff for your games. So, look forward to seeing everybody on that video, and we'll see you very shortly in the Discord lobby.